Hi, what's going on, guys? It's me, Dr. Digital, and today we are going to be talking about the best creatures to use for boss fights. So there's going to be kind of two segments to this video. We're going to be first covering the actual dinos for the boss, and then so your damage dealers basically, and then I'm going to cover over the supports. Oh, there's Teethar. That's an interesting visual bug. But I'm just going to start off with probably the most obvious one here, the Rex. Now, the Rex is known for being kind of just your general all-around dino. Has great melee, decent stamina, good weight, and he's extremely bulky for a carnivore. This means you can bring him into basically every single fight. You could bring him into Broodmother just fine. Megapithecus is a cakewalk. I don't even think you really need to get mutations on them for Megapithecus. For Dragon, Rex also kind of serves its purpose. So if you want to do kind of a one and done kind of deal, just breed Rexes, right? But if you want to have the best creature for every kind of use case, then stick around and we're going to talk about the other ones here. The next one right over here, which is the Therizinosaurus. Now, like I said, the Rex can do Dragon, but you might have some difficulties because the Dragon has a fire attack that actually does percent base health. So even though the Rex is super tanky and has a big health pool, to the Dragon it doesn't really matter because he does percent health damage, right? So the Therizino is going to be your next bet, and this is because the Therizino actually has insanely high damage output. It's even more than the Rex. So the Therizino can just dish out consistent, strong damage, as well as, since he is a herbivore, it is able to eat sweet vegetable cakes. And since their health pool isn't too big, a vegetable cake, will heal back like a fifth of their HP or whatever it is, right? And that's usually enough to kind of like subside the damage from the dragon's percent base damage, which honestly makes the Therizino kind of my top pick for dragons. Now, personally, I would only really work with these two guys, but here are two other options as well. So the Megatherium is also glitched out. I don't know what's going on with some of these dinos. So the Origami Megatherium is really good at the Broodmother fight because he has access to two buffs. The first buff is by just being around insects. Sorry about that. And the second buff is by consuming harvesting a corpse of an insect. Now, in the Broodmother fight, there's a bunch of little spiders that spawn, and the Megatheriums, can easily just one-shot those guys, and it gives them a huge damage and resistance buff to the Broodmother. And it makes your Megatheriums incredibly strong against fight in specific. Now, I wouldn't suggest using Megatheriums for any other fight, but it is definitely a staple for Broodmother. You can go ahead on a fresh new server, go grab 2 to 4 Megatheriums, start breeding, and within the next couple of days, you can go ahead and run Broodmother. And last but not least, for the damage dealers, we do have the Spino. Now, the Spino can be used generally like the Rex, but you need to put a little bit more work into the health stat, because on the health stat, the Spino's lacking quite a bit. Now, the Spino actually has decent damage, especially if you personally are riding a Spino and you right click in this mode. It's very strong. But the main reason I want to talk about Spino is because you can use it to fight both the Broodmother and the Megapithecus, sorry. Because there is little water pools at the bottom of the Broodmother, and if I hold H here, you see I now have the hydrated buff, which it adds a bunch of stats. You do extra damage, you get more stamina regen, just some kind of, basic buffs. But again, it goes a long way, right? And then you could obviously use it for the Megapithecus, not because there's water in there, but just because that fight is ridiculously easy. So there you go. Those are going to be your boss damage dealers. Now keep in mind, I am only covering creatures that are released on, sorry for that once again, but I'm only covering creatures that are out on the island, just because, That's all we have right now. And last but not least, probably most importantly actually, are the support dinos. Now, I should have probably put Mammoth here, but that one requires another player, and usually you have like one player on a Yudi, one player on a Daedon, and usually from, you know, my experience on PvE servers, I only run it with, you know, 1 or 2 friends, so Mammoth might be a little bit extra, right? Because you need one person on the back drumming, and ideally you'd want to have someone moving the Mammoth as well. So we're going to talk about the 2 main ones here, which would be first the Daedon. Now the Daedon is classic, right? You hop on the Daedon, you press right click, and there is a healing pulse that is sent out to all of your creatures at the cost of food. So you could just throw cooked meat on these guys, cooked mutton, whatever you can get your hand on, these guys will eat, and it's awesome because you're able to heal your characters up, and you'll be sitting in a good spot. And last but not least, the Uranus, who forgot to put his dentures in today. I don't know what's quite going on with this visual. It's, see, look, I go up to the front perfectly fine. I don't really understand that, but all right. So if we walk up to our creatures here and hold C, you will notice that there is a little ring that starts to form around them. And when this ring is fully complete, they get a massive bonus to their damage, their defenses, and just honestly, it's an insane buff. Now, like I said, out of all of the damage dealers, you could kind of pick and choose, but you will 100% definitely need, this is a, like, you want to bring these guys 100% of the time, you need to bring your support dinos. It makes the run much easier, it makes everything more consistent, and it makes it so you can farm more than one run, you know, every couple of weeks, because your guys are gonna be topped off and healthy, and the fights aren't gonna take too long. So yeah, so if this guide is helpful at all and you guys now know how to beat the island, I suggest to go give it a shot and get yourself some nice fancy tech gear. If you guys enjoyed the video, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.